I remember the exact moment everything changed. The night Emily left. It was raining when she called. I hadn't heard from her in days and I thought maybe we could fix things. She had been distant but I brushed it off thinking it was just a phase. How wrong I was. Ryan, her voice was calm, almost too calm, like she had already made up her mind. I can't do this anymore. I froze, my chest tightening. What are you talking about? I whispered but my throat felt dry. I'm leaving. I've met someone who can give me the life I've always dreamed of, she continued, her words piercing me like 1,000 daggers. My mind raced but I couldn't process what she was saying. You're leaving me for him? I felt the anger rise in me but I couldn't let it out. Not yet. I'm sorry, Ryan, she said, almost like she was apologizing for something insignificant. He's a rich investor. He can offer me things you never could. Her words didn't make sense, not at first. I kept waiting for her to say it was a joke. I laughed nervously. This isn't funny, Em. Where's this coming from? We've been together forever. I know, she replied softly. But I need more than this. I need more than what we have. It's not your fault, it's just how things are. My heart sank. The weight of her words hit me like a ton of bricks. Everything we had built together, our memories, our future, meant nothing to her anymore. She was gone. I felt my stomach churn, my world spinning out of control. She had walked away for money, for status. It wasn't the first time I'd heard of someone making a choice like that, but I never thought it would be Emily. Emily, please, I pleaded, my voice barely above a whisper. Don't do this. We can work things out. We've always worked things out. I'm sorry, Ryan, she said again, and I could hear her voice faltering. Goodbye. The line went dead. I stared at my phone for what felt like hours, the screen blank. My mind raced, trying to find something, anything that could explain what just happened. But there was nothing. I could barely remember the last few days. She had been distant, yes, but we'd never talked about breaking up. I had no idea she was seeing someone else. I had no idea she was planning this. I leaned back against the wall, my hands shaking. All I could think was, how could she do this to me? I spent the next few days lost in my thoughts, my heart broken, my trust shattered. I couldn't even bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. How could I? It wasn't like this was something that could be explained. It felt like everything had slipped away in an instant. My life, my future, the love of my life, gone. I had to force myself to get out of bed the next morning. I stared at the empty space in my room where Emily's things used to be. The memories came rushing back. The times we laughed, the times we made plans, the times we thought we had it all figured out. But none of that mattered now. It was over. She was gone. And in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, betrayal. I walked through the day in a haze, feeling numb. The world around me was moving, but I wasn't a part of it. I wasn't me anymore. I was a broken version of myself, searching for answers but finding none. I tried to ignore it. I told myself I'd get over it, that I'd move on, but the truth was, every time I thought about her, about what she had done, my chest would tighten with anger and pain. I wanted to scream but I couldn't. I wanted to make her regret this. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she had done, but deep down, I knew she never would. She was with him now, with the man who could offer her everything I couldn't. I was nothing more than a memory to her. The days dragged on, but each one felt like a lifetime. I couldn't escape the thoughts of Emily, of how she had chosen him over me. I tried to distract myself with work, but it didn't help. Nothing did. Every part of me felt empty, like she had taken a piece of my soul with her. But then, as if fate had a sick sense of humor, I saw them together. I had gone to the local cafe trying to get some air when I spotted her through the window. She was sitting with James Harper, laughing, her eyes sparkling with a happiness I hadn't seen in months. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. James Harper. The man who had stolen her away. I watched them for a moment, my mind racing. How could she do this to me? The questions kept flooding in, but the pain was too much. I turned and walked out of the cafe, my head spinning. It was real now. She had really chosen him over me. And I had no idea what I was supposed to do next. It's been weeks, and I still can't shake the feeling of Emily's words echoing in my mind. I need more than what we have. They haunt me every damn day. I try to focus, try to go about my life like things are normal, but it's impossible. I can't forget her, not after what she did. And I can't forget how I feel, betrayed, furious, and so damn confused. I sit in the same cafe where we used to go, the one we swore we'd always come back to even when we were old and gray. Now it's just me. Alone. Hey man, you alright? Liam's voice breaks through my thoughts. He pulls up a chair, sitting across from me with a concerned look on his face. I force a smile. Yeah, just thinking. Liam raises an eyebrow. Thinking about Emily? I don't answer right away. Instead, I take a sip of my coffee, staring into the dark liquid like it holds all the answers. What else is there to think about? Liam's silence tells me he's not letting me off that easy. He knows me too well. Ryan, man, you're not okay. You're shutting everyone out. You've barely left the apartment. This isn't healthy. I can't bring myself to look at him. The anger bubbling up inside me is too much to control. I don't need people telling me how to handle this. I know what I'm doing. Liam leans back in his chair, studying me. Do you? 'Cause it sure doesn't look like it. He pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in before adding, Look, I get it. She hurt you. But holding on to this bitterness, it's not going to fix anything. I don't care about fixing things, I snap. I care about making her pay. About making her feel what I felt when she walked away from me. Liam sighs, rubbing the back of his neck. That's where you're wrong, Ryan. She's not gonna feel anything. Not the way you want her to. She's already gone, man. And you're just digging yourself deeper into this hole. The words hit harder than I expect. You think I don't know that? I grit my teeth. You think I don't feel every damn moment she's not here? You think I'm not losing my mind thinking about how easy it was for her to walk away from me? Liam doesn't flinch. He just watches me like he's waiting for something. Yeah, I do think you know. But it's eating you alive. You've got this idea in your head that you can't move on, that revenge is the answer. But I've seen this before. It doesn't work. I lean forward, slamming my fist on the table, causing a few people nearby to glance over. I don't care. What else am I supposed to do, Liam? Let her go and pretend it's fine? Pretend like I don't feel like an idiot for trusting her? She left me for him, James Harper. A guy who can buy her anything she wants. What do I have left? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Liam's voice softens, but it doesn't lose its edge. You've got more than you think, man. You've got your life. You've got your dignity. And most importantly, you've got control of what happens next. Control. The word sticks with me like a cold shiver down my spine. Control? What control do I have? She's out there with him, living the life I thought I was supposed to have with her. What the hell am I supposed to do with that? He takes a deep breath, his eyes locking with mine. You don't need to do anything with it, Ryan. Let her live her life. Let go of the anger or it'll destroy you. You think revenge is going to fill the hole she left? It won't. Trust me. For a moment, I don't say anything. My mind races thinking back to the last few weeks. The nights spent staring at my phone, waiting for a text that never came. The days I spent thinking of ways to hurt her the way she hurt me. But Liam's right. Revenge won't change anything. It won't bring her back. It won't undo what's already been done. I don't know if I can let it go, I mutter, my voice quiet now, almost defeated. You don't have to forgive her, Ryan. Not yet. But you've got to stop letting this control your life. You've got to stop punishing yourself. I stare at Liam, not sure what to say. Part of me wants to scream, to tell him he doesn't understand. But another part of me, the part that knows he's right, wants to listen. I lean back in my chair, taking a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside of me. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm holding on to something that's only hurting me. I run a hand through my hair, the weight of the last few weeks crashing down on me. I just don't know how to stop. Liam gives me a small, understanding smile. Start by taking it one day at a time. And when you're ready, you'll figure out the rest. But don't let this, define who you are. I nod slowly, feeling the smallest spark of hope flicker inside me. Maybe, just maybe, I can get past this. Maybe I can rebuild. For now, though, I just need to let go of the rage. I need to heal. But it's hard. So damn hard. I didn't expect to hear from her. It had been a year since Emily walked away, leaving me with nothing but the ghost of what we had. A year of silence, a year of self-doubt and anger, a year of trying to forget her. But then the phone rang. I stared at the screen for a moment, my heart thudding in my chest. It was her. Emily. I almost didn't pick up, but something kept me there, my thumb hovering over the screen. What could she possibly want after everything? I swallowed hard and answered. Hello. Ryan, her voice was soft, tentative. It's Emily. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. I know who it is. My tone was sharp, even though I didn't mean for it to be. What do you want, Emily? I've made a mistake, she said, her voice cracking slightly. I shouldn't have left. I was wrong. I froze. You think you can just call me after a year and say that? After everything you did? You think that makes it all okay? I never meant to hurt you, Ryan. I thought I needed something more, but I was wrong. James, It wasn't what I thought it would be. I was blinded by money and status. I don't want that anymore. I want us back. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. She wants us back. The same woman who left me for a rich investor is now begging for forgiveness? My anger flared, but there was something else, something deep inside that I couldn't ignore. Was it hope? Was it the part of me that still loved her? I shook my head, trying to clear the thoughts that were clouding my mind. You left me for him. For everything you said you wanted. And now you're calling me up like you can just fix everything with a few words. I know I don't deserve it, she said quickly, but I'm asking you, Ryan. Can you forgive me? I never meant to destroy everything we had. The words felt like daggers, but they also felt like something else. Hope. But I had to push it away. I couldn't let her do this to me again. You don't get it, Emily, I said, my voice shaking with emotion I couldn't control. You can't just come back and pretend like nothing happened. You can't make all the hurt go away with an apology. There was silence on the other end for a long moment, and I could hear her breathing, as if she was trying to gather the strength to speak. I know it's hard, she finally whispered, but I need you to know that I've thought about this every single day. I've regretted it. I've missed you, Ryan. Please, I want to fix things. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. The anger was still there, boiling beneath the surface. But I also felt something else. A part of me wanted to believe her. Wanted to believe that maybe we could start over. But how could I? How could I forget everything she had done? Why now? I asked, my voice low. Why after everything, Emily? Why didn't you think about this before? Why didn't you realize you were making a mistake when you left me? I don't have an answer for that, she admitted softly. But I can't change what I did. All I can do is ask for your forgiveness and hope you can see that I've changed. I closed my eyes, letting her words wash over me, but they didn't bring peace. They only made the pain sharper. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said quietly. I don't know if I can trust you again. I understand, she said, her voice trembling. But I need you to know that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I want us back, Ryan. I love you. I always have. Those words, I love you, they cut through me. A part of me wanted to believe her, to give in to the emotions that were flooding back. But another part of me, the part that had been hurt so badly, wanted to walk away. I had already suffered once. Could I survive it again? I don't know what to say, I muttered, shaking my head. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can let you back in after everything. Emily was silent for a moment, and when she spoke again, her voice was quiet but firm. I understand. I don't expect things to go back to the way they were. I just want a chance to make things right. Please, Ryan. I stared out the window, watching the world move on around me. People were going about their day, completely unaware of the storm raging inside me. I had to make a choice. Could I forgive her? Could I open my heart to her again? Or was it better to let go and move on for good? I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell her to leave me alone and never come back. But part of me still loved her. Part of me wanted to believe in us. I need time, I said finally. I don't know what I want right now, but I'll think about it. Emily didn't respond at first, and I could hear the relief in her breath. Thank you, she whispered. I'll wait. I'll wait for as long as it takes. I hung up before I could say anything else. The silence in the room was deafening. I sat there, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. I had no idea what the right choice was. But I knew one thing. No matter what I decided, I could never forget the pain she caused me. The question was, could I forgive her? The decision was tearing me apart. One minute, I was ready to let Emily go, to walk away and never look back. The next, I was thinking about all the good times we'd shared, the laughs, the plans for the future. How could I just throw that away? I was sitting at my kitchen table, my hands wrapped around a cold cup of coffee, staring at the clock on the wall. I'd barely slept, and my mind kept replaying the conversation with Emily. I've made a mistake, she had said, and part of me wanted to believe her. But another part was screaming for revenge. I couldn't just let her walk away like it was nothing. She had chosen him over me. Over us. I couldn't forget that. Ryan. Liam's voice interrupted my thoughts, pulling me back to the present. He was standing in the doorway, his face a mix of concern and impatience. You've been staring at that clock for over an hour. What's going on with you? I sighed, running a hand through my hair. I don't know, man. I can't stop thinking about Emily. She called me Liam. She wants me back. Liam raised an eyebrow. And what did you say? I told her I needed time, I muttered, lowering my eyes to the table. But I don't know if I can forgive her. I don't know if I even want to. Liam sat down across from me, his eyes steady on mine. You're thinking about revenge again, aren't you? I didn't say anything, but the way he looked at me told me everything. You knew. I get it, Liam continued, his voice softening. She hurt you, but what's the point in holding on to this anger? Revenge isn't going to change anything. It's just going to make you more miserable. I clenched my fists, feeling the weight of his words. I can't help it, I said, my voice tight. She left me for him. She made her choice. And now she wants me back? Like nothing happened. Liam didn't back down. That's not the point. The point is, you have to decide if you want to move on or keep punishing yourself. Because you're the only one stuck in this. I leaned back in my chair, feeling the exhaustion creeping into my bones. I don't know how to move on. I don't know how to just forget everything she did. How can I trust her again? How can I just let it all go? Liam's gaze softened and he sighed. You don't have to forget everything. You just have to decide if it's worth the pain to keep holding on to it. You can't keep living in the past, Ryan. You have to decide what's best for you, not for her. His words cut deeper than I expected. I wanted to be angry, to lash out at him for saying something I didn't want to hear. But I couldn't. He was right. I was the one who had to make a choice, and I had been avoiding it for so long. I just wish I knew what the right choice was, I whispered, more to myself than to Liam. I keep thinking about her, about us, about how it used to be. And then I think about how easy it was for her to walk away from me. How she chose him over me. I can't let that go. Liam was quiet for a moment, giving me space to think. You're scared, man. Scared of getting hurt again. But you can't live your life holding on to fear. You have to decide if you want to move forward, not just for Emily but for yourself. Are you ready to forgive her? Are you ready to let her back into your life? I ran my hand over my face, feeling the weight of the question pressing down on me. My thoughts were scattered and my heart was in pieces. Then, just as the silence became unbearable, my phone buzzed on the table. I looked at the screen. Emily. I felt my stomach twist, and for a moment I thought about ignoring it. But I couldn't. Not now. Not when everything was hanging in the balance. I picked up the phone, and before I could even say anything, I heard her voice. Ryan, I just wanted to say I'm thinking about you. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I can't stop thinking about what we had. I miss you. Please don't shut me out. Her words hit me like a wave, washing over me with all the pain I had been trying to bury. Part of me wanted to reach out, to tell her everything I was feeling. But another part of me, the part that had been broken, knew that trusting her again would mean risking everything. I didn't respond immediately. I just sat there listening to her breathe, my heart pounding in my chest. I need time, I finally said, my voice rough. I can't just decide this overnight. I have to think about what I want. I understand, she whispered, her voice filled with regret. I'll wait, Ryan. Take all the time you need. I hung up, staring at the screen for a moment longer. Then I put the phone down on the table, my hands shaking. Liam didn't say anything. He didn't have to. I was torn. I was still angry. Still hurt. But there was something inside me, something I couldn't ignore, that still cared about her. I needed time. And I wasn't sure how much of it I had left. The first few weeks after Emily's call felt like I was living in a fog. Her voice still echoed in my mind, and part of me wanted to answer, to give her another chance. But I couldn't. I needed to move on. I had to. So I threw myself into work. It wasn't a bad distraction. I started pushing harder, taking on more projects, putting in the hours. Slowly but surely, the weight of the past started to lift, even if just a little bit. I was starting to regain control over something, anything. Ryan, you're killing it lately, man, Liam said one afternoon, leaning against the doorframe of my office. He had that half smile on his face, the one he wore when he was proud of me. I looked up from my computer, trying to hide the exhaustion behind my smile. Yeah, just keeping busy. Busy's good, Liam said, pushing off the door and walking in. But you're still avoiding the elephant in the room. I felt my stomach twist. I'm not avoiding anything. He raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? You've been focused, but you're also pushing everyone away. You haven't said a word about Emily since that phone call. I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my temples. I don't need to talk about it, Liam. I don't need to talk about her. You're lying to yourself, Liam shot back, his tone sharp. I get it, you want to move on. But don't pretend like everything's fine. You're not fine, and you're not fooling anyone. I stared at him for a moment, letting his words settle in. He was right, of course. I'd been pretending even to myself. The truth was, I wasn't fine. I wasn't even close to fine. But talking about it? Letting anyone in? I couldn't do that. Not yet. Yeah, well, I'm doing the best I can, I said, my voice quieter now. Liam studied me for a moment before sighing. All right. Just don't shut me out, okay? You're not alone in this. I didn't respond. Instead, I turned back to my computer, clicking through a few emails. Liam took the hint, and after a few seconds of silence, he left my office. I wasn't ready to face the truth. Not yet. The next few days were a blur of meetings and deadlines. I threw myself into work harder than before, trying to drown out the noise in my head. But Emily wouldn't stop calling. Every time I saw her name on my phone, my heart skipped, a strange mixture of anger and longing filling me. Then one evening it happened. I was finishing up some paperwork when I saw it, a message from Emily. Ryan, I'm not giving up on us. I'll keep fighting for you. Please just talk to me. I stared at the message for what felt like an eternity. Her words were desperate, pleading. She was relentless, but that didn't make it easier. It made it harder. I wanted to reach out. I wanted to tell her everything, to lay it all out there. But I knew I couldn't. I couldn't keep letting her have this power over me. But then, something unexpected happened. I was at a networking event for work when I ran into James Harper, Emily's new boyfriend. The man who had taken everything from me. He was just as I remembered, arrogant, confident, and way too charming for his own good. He offered a smile when he saw me, his eyes gleaming with that fake sincerity I knew all too well. Ryan, he said smoothly, extending his hand. I've heard a lot about you. I didn't take his hand. You don't know anything about me, I said, my voice flat, betraying none of the anger I felt inside. James chuckled, unfazed by my response. Come on, let's not make this awkward. We both know the truth. I'm just doing what's best for Emily. I clenched my jaw. What's best for Emily? I echoed, barely holding back the disgust in my voice. You really think she's happy with you? His smile never faltered. She's happy with the life I can give her, Ryan. Something you couldn't. Maybe she just needs a little more than what you could provide. His words hit harder than I expected, the sting of them sharper than anything I'd felt in months. I wanted to lash out, to scream at him, to make him feel the same way I felt. But I didn't. I kept my calm, forcing the anger down into the pit of my stomach. Good for you then, I said, turning away from him. But I'm not the one who's going to feel regret. I walked away before I could say anything else, my mind racing with fury. The nerve of him talking about Emily like she was some prize to be won. And yet, he was right about one thing. She had chosen him over me. But I was done. I couldn't keep letting him or her have this hold over me. I wasn't going to let him win. Not again. I knew what I had to do. I had to take control. I had to stop looking back. Emily might not see it now, but I had already won. I had moved on. And I was going to make damn sure that she knew it. I couldn't stop thinking about Emily's words. She hadn't given up. And it was starting to get under my skin. But I wasn't ready to give in. I couldn't be. She had made her choice and I had to respect that. But the more time passed, the more I started to focus on something else. James Harper. I didn't trust him. Never had, never would. He had everything Emily wanted. Money, status, the kind of life I could never give her. But there was something about him. The way he spoke to me that night, the way he acted like he had some kind of superiority. I wasn't the only one who had noticed it. Liam had too. Ryan, you're not seeing it, Liam said one afternoon, his voice low as we sat in a small bar sipping beers. James Harper? There's something off about him. I raised an eyebrow, leaning in. What do you mean? Liam lowered his voice further. He's not what he appears to be. He's got a reputation, you know. Rumors, business dealings, shady stuff. I don't trust him. And I don't think Emily knows half of it. I felt my stomach tighten. I'd always known James had to have some skeletons in his closet, but hearing it from Liam made it feel more real. What kind of stuff? Stuff that could destroy him, Liam replied. And her if she's too tied up with him. The words hit harder than I expected. The thought of Emily being caught up in whatever mess James had made, it made my blood boil. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. Not anymore. The next few days were a blur of late nights at the office, digging into James Harper's past. It wasn't hard to find what I was looking for. I wasn't a stranger to the world of business, connections, deals, people who liked to talk. I found out enough to make my blood run cold. James had been involved in some questionable investments, ones that had led to more than a few lawsuits. There were whispers about illegal practices, about people who had been ruined in his rise to the top. It wasn't just rumors anymore. I had the evidence. I sat there one night, staring at the screen of my laptop, the information in front of me. Part of me wanted to use it. To bring him down, to make him pay for what he'd done to me and Emily. I knew I could destroy him with a single move. But the other part of me, the better part, I told myself, wanted nothing to do with it. I had enough of revenge. Enough of trying to get back at people who had wronged me. I'd already spent too much time focusing on Emily and James. Maybe it was time to let it go. I closed my laptop and leaned back in my chair, rubbing my eyes. But I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about Emily. And I didn't know if I was ready to walk away from her yet. Ryan, Liam's voice cut through the silence, and I looked up to find him standing in the doorway of my office, his face serious. What's going on with you? I didn't answer right away. My mind was racing with the information I had just uncovered. It was too much to ignore. I found something, I said quietly, not sure how to say it. Something about James. Liam raised an eyebrow. What kind of something? Bad stuff, I muttered. Stuff that could ruin him. And Emily if she keeps hanging around him. Liam stepped into the room, his expression hardening. What are you gonna do with it? I didn't know. That was the problem. Part of me wanted to confront James, expose everything I knew. But another part of me knew that would only hurt Emily. She had already made her choice, and I didn't want to be the one who made her regret it. I don't know yet, I said finally, standing up and pacing the room. But I can't just ignore it, Liam. I can't. You're not thinking clearly, Liam said, his voice firm. You're doing what you always do. Looking for a way to make someone else pay for your pain. I froze. What's that supposed to mean? Liam sighed, rubbing his temples. You're not over her, Ryan. You're not over what she did to you. And now you're looking for a way to hurt James because you think that'll make it better. But it won't. It'll just keep you stuck in this cycle of anger and regret. His words hit hard like a slap in the face. I wanted to argue, to tell him he was wrong. But I couldn't. He was right. I was still angry. I was still hurt. And maybe, just maybe, I wasn't ready to let that go. I sat down heavily at my desk, running a hand through my hair. I just want this to be over, I said quietly, more to myself than to Liam. I want to stop feeling like this. Liam took a step forward, placing a hand on my shoulder. Then let it go, man. Let her go. Let him go. You're not going to heal until you do. I didn't respond. I couldn't. But deep down I knew he was right. I needed to make a choice. I couldn't keep holding on to the past, to the anger and the hurt. I had to decide what I wanted. But as I sat there, staring at the screen in front of me, the knowledge of what James had done gnawed at me. How could I just let it go? How could I let him get away with it? I walked into the meeting with James Harper knowing exactly what I was about to do. The evidence I had gathered was damning, and I wasn't going to back down. The feeling of power, of finally having the upper hand, was intoxicating, but beneath that there was something else. A gnawing, sick feeling in my stomach that I tried to ignore. James sat across from me, his usual smug smile in place. Ryan, he said smoothly, I didn't expect you to show up like this. To what do I owe the pleasure? I leaned forward, staring him down. You owe me everything, Harper. You're about to lose it all. He chuckled, the sound grating on my nerves. Is that so? You think you can intimidate me with whatever you've found? You're playing with fire, Ryan. I'm not playing, I said, pulling out a folder from my bag and dropping it onto the table between us. These are your business dealings, illegal investments, shady companies, people you've screwed over to get to the top. And now it's all mine. It's not just rumors anymore. This is fact. James's smile faltered for just a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. You think this will do anything? You really think Emily will listen to you if you try to ruin me? She'll listen, I said, my voice low, each word deliberate. But it's not about her anymore. It's about you. About your lies. And about what you've taken from me. He leaned back in his chair, his hands folding neatly in front of him. You're making a huge mistake, Ryan. I'm not someone you want to mess with. I could feel the tension building, but I wasn't going to back down now. I don't care what threats you make, Harper. I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore. James's eyes narrowed, the calm demeanor he usually projected slipping slightly. You should be, he said, his voice suddenly colder. If you think you can threaten me and get away with it, you're wrong. I'll make sure your career, your reputation, everything you've worked for, disappears. One phone call is all it'll take. I froze. His words hit harder than I expected. You wouldn't, I said, my voice tight, but I could hear the doubt creeping in. Try me, James said, his grin now more predatory. You think you can play with someone like me and not suffer the consequences? My heart was pounding, but I didn't show it. You're a coward, James, I said, standing up. I'm done with you. You can't threaten me into submission. I walked out of the office, my mind racing. The weight of what I had just done hit me as soon as I left the building. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone. I knew what James could do. He wasn't bluffing. And the worst part was, I had no idea how to protect myself from him. I felt sick. For the first time in a long time, I didn't know what to do. I had fought for so long to regain control of my life, and now it felt like everything was slipping through my fingers. I took a deep breath and called Liam. Yeah. His voice came through the phone, sounding casual, but I could hear the tension in the background. You okay? Not really, I said, pacing as I spoke. I confronted James. I used the information I found. But now he's threatening everything. My career. My reputation. He's got the power to ruin me, Liam. Shit, Liam muttered. What the hell did you expect? James isn't a guy you can threaten and walk away from. You're going to have to fight back, Ryan. You can't let him scare you into silence. I ran a hand through my hair, feeling the weight of everything crashing down on me. What the hell am I supposed to do? He's not just some rival. He's dangerous. I've never felt more out of control in my life. Then take control, Liam said firmly. Don't let him win. You've got the information. Use it. Fight for your future, Ryan. You've already come this far. Don't let him take everything from you. I nodded even though he couldn't see me. I had no other choice. I had to protect myself. No one else was going to do it. But the thought of fighting James, of getting tangled up in this war, didn't sit well with me. The emotional toll was already too much. I didn't know if I could do it. I closed my eyes and let out a breath. You're right, I said, more to myself than to Liam. I can't back down. The next few days were a blur of sleepless nights and meetings. I worked harder than ever, scrambling to make sure I wasn't an easy target for James's threats. I tried to distance myself from the emotions, but every time I thought of Emily, every time I remembered the life we'd once planned, I felt a wave of regret wash over me. But it didn't matter anymore. Emily had made her choice. And so had I. I was done with revenge. I was done with trying to make her see my pain. Now it was all about survival. The phone buzzed on the table, and for a split second I thought about ignoring it. But I couldn't. I knew who it was. Emily. It had been weeks since she'd last reached out, and part of me was still angry, furious really, that she thought she could just come back into my life after everything. But another part of me, I don't know, that part still wanted to believe in her, in us. I took a deep breath and answered. What do you want, Emily? There was a long pause before her voice came through, soft and hesitant. Ryan, Don't, I interrupted, not wanting to hear the usual apology. What is it this time? Another one of your, I made a mistake speeches? I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, she said, her voice shaky. But I need to tell you something. I need you to know the truth. I sat back in my chair, rubbing my temples. What truth, Emily? What could you possibly say now that would change anything? She sighed. I'm so sorry, Ryan. What I did. I regret it. James was never what I thought he was. I was blinded by the money, the idea of a perfect life. I was so selfish. I froze, my chest tightening. Selfish. That's what she had been. Everything she'd done had been for herself, for a life she thought would make her happy. And look where it got her. Is that what you wanted to tell me? That it was all about the money? I said, my voice low, betraying none of the pain I felt. You walked away from me for him. And now you regret it? Too little, too late. No, Ryan. I regret everything. I regret leaving you. I regret thinking that money could make me happy, she said quickly, her voice cracking. I was stupid. You were everything I needed, and I was too blind to see it. Her words hit me like a slap in the face, and I found myself shaking with anger. I wanted to scream, to make her feel the same hurt I had felt when she left me for him. But I didn't. I couldn't. You left me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. You chose him over me. You knew how much I loved you. And you walked away without a second thought. Now you want me to believe that you regret it? I never meant to hurt you, Ryan, she said, her voice soft and sincere. I was wrong. And I know it's too late, but I want you to know that I would do anything to go back. To make things right. The words hung in the air, but I didn't know what to do with them. Part of me wanted to believe her, to let her back in, to start over. But the other part, the part that had been hurt so badly, that had fought to move on, couldn't. I couldn't just forget everything she'd done. You don't get it, Emily, I said quietly, my voice breaking a little. I can't just forget that you left me. I can't just forget that you chose someone else over me. I know, she whispered. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know the truth. that I made a mistake, that I was wrong. I clenched my fists trying to push back the surge of emotion. It felt like a flood and I didn't know how to stop it. The anger, the pain, the confusion, everything was crashing down on me. And yet, a small part of me still wanted to forgive her. Still wanted to believe that we could fix this. But I couldn't. I couldn't trust her again. I couldn't let her hurt me like that, not again. Emily, I started, but I couldn't finish. The words felt useless. She had broken something in me that I couldn't fix. I'm sorry, Ryan, she said, her voice soft, almost a whisper. I'm so sorry. I wish I could go back and make things right. I closed my eyes, shaking my head. It doesn't matter anymore. What's done is done. You made your choice and I made mine. There was silence on the other end, and for a moment I thought she might hang up. But then she spoke again, quieter this time. I'll always love you, Ryan. No matter what. Her words were like a knife twisting in my chest. Always love me. She didn't get it. Love wasn't enough. She had proven that. I don't need your love, Emily, I said, my voice steady now, though my heart felt like it was breaking. I just need to move on. I hung up the phone before I could say anything more. The silence in the room was deafening. My heart was pounding and my hands were trembling. I didn't know what I was supposed to feel. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to tell her she was too late, that she had ruined everything. But instead I felt empty. I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the phone in my hand. The weight of everything that had happened pressed down on me, and I didn't know how to carry it anymore. I wanted to move on. I wanted to forget her. But the truth was I wasn't ready. Not yet. I sat there, staring at my phone, wondering why I couldn't just delete her number. I knew I should, but every time I tried, something stopped me. Maybe it was hope, or maybe it was the part of me that still wanted to believe things could go back to the way they were. But the truth was, I had already made up my mind. I just hadn't fully accepted it yet. The past few weeks had been a blur of sleepless nights and constant back and forth in my head. Emily's messages kept coming, each one more desperate than the last. But no matter how many times I read them, the only thing that changed was the anger, the frustration, and the overwhelming urge to walk away. I had to walk away. Ryan, you're making yourself crazy, man, Liam said one afternoon when I picked up the phone. You're going around in circles. Just make the damn decision already. I could hear the concern in his voice, but also the frustration. I know, I muttered, rubbing my eyes. It's not that simple. Yeah, it is, Liam shot back. Emily messed up, and you're holding on to this idea that she can fix it. She can't. You've already spent too much time on her. It's time to let go. I don't know how to let go, I said quietly, almost to myself. Liam sighed on the other end. You're not going to find the answers in her. You need to find it in yourself. You're worth more than whatever she can give you, Ryan. Don't forget that. His words hit me harder than I expected. He was right. I had spent so long letting my feelings for Emily dictate everything, letting her mistakes define me. But I wasn't that person anymore. I had changed. I had grown. And I couldn't keep holding on to the past no matter how much it hurt. I know, I said, my voice steadier now. I know you're right. But it's hard, man. It's hard to just let go. Yeah, I get it. But you've got to do it. You've got to free yourself from all this. It's not doing you any good. I ran a hand through my hair, leaning back against the couch. I don't know what it is about her. Why can't I just walk away like I know I should? Because you care, Liam said, his voice softening. You care and you always will. But caring doesn't mean you have to keep letting her hurt you. It doesn't mean you have to keep waiting for her to come back and fix things. You're the one who has to fix you. I stayed silent for a moment, the weight of his words sinking in. Liam was right. It was me who had to fix this. It was me who had to move on, no one else. I hung up the phone, my hands shaking slightly. It felt like a weight had been lifted from my chest. But there was still a part of me that wasn't sure. A part of me that wasn't ready to let go. Later that night, I found myself standing in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection. For the first time in a long time, I didn't see the guy who was drowning in his feelings for Emily. I saw someone else. Someone stronger. Someone who had been broken but was starting to heal. It felt like a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. I took a deep breath and pulled out my phone, scrolling to Emily's contact. My finger hovered over the delete button, my chest tight as I felt the familiar pull of nostalgia and regret. But then I thought of everything Liam had said. I thought of the man I was becoming. And with a steady hand I pressed the button. The number was gone. And for the first time in a long time I felt like I had control again. But it didn't make it any easier. The next day Emily called again. My heart skipped in my chest and for a moment I almost picked it up. But then I remembered the decision I had made. I remembered how far I had come. I let it ring out. I didn't need to hear her voice again. I didn't need to listen to the apologies, the regrets. It was too late for that. I spent the next few days surrounded by family, letting their love and support ground me. My mother noticed the change in me, the quiet confidence I had started to carry myself with. She smiled at me one evening, sitting down next to me on the couch. "You're looking better," she said gently, her eyes warm with understanding. "I'm proud of you, Ryan." I smiled at her, the words she'd always said to me ringing in my ears. "You're stronger than you know." "I'm trying, Mom," I said softly. "I'm really trying." The rest of the week passed in a blur of work and family, and as the days went by, the lingering ache in my chest began to fade. Slowly but surely I started to feel like myself again. Like the person I was before Emily came into my life. And I wasn't sure if that person was stronger or just different. But I was okay. I was finally okay. I didn't know what I expected to feel when I found out James's empire was collapsing. Maybe some kind of satisfaction, some rush of triumph over the man who had taken so much from me. But as I sat there watching the news reports flash across the screen, all I felt was emptiness. James Harper was going down and I had played a part in it. The article on my laptop said it all. James Harper's business empire under investigation for fraud and corruption. I had gathered enough evidence, set the trap, and watched him walk straight into it. But now that it was happening, I felt no sense of victory. I just felt tired. "Ryan, you see this?" Liam said, his voice tinged with disbelief. He handed me his phone and I saw the headline, the name that had caused so much pain in my life. "Yeah," I muttered, barely looking up. "I saw it." He sat down next to me, concern in his eyes. "This is huge. You brought him down, man. This is what you wanted, right?" I sighed, rubbing my eyes. "It's what I thought I wanted. But now it doesn't feel like enough." Liam raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about? James is going to lose everything, his company, his reputation. He's finished. You won. Why does it feel hollow? Because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't bring back what he took from me. It doesn't fix what's broken. And it sure as hell doesn't fix the fact that Emily walked away from me for him," I said, my voice tinged with bitterness. Liam paused, watching me closely. "You're still holding on to her, aren't you?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I stared at the phone screen, watching the news anchor deliver the same details I'd already read a dozen times. I had exposed him. I had done what I thought was the right thing. But now, with everything crashing down around him, I realized something. It wasn't enough. I had done it for the wrong reasons. I had done it to hurt him, to make him pay for what he did to me. But now that it was happening, it felt empty. "I thought taking him down would fix things," I muttered. "But it's not fixing me." Liam's voice softened. "You're not going to find peace in revenge, Ryan. You did what you needed to do. James deserved it. But now it's time to let go." "Let go?" I echoed, looking at him. "How do I let go of everything he took from me?" "By realizing that you're stronger than all of this. You're better than this fight. You don't need him to suffer to move on," Liam said, his voice calm but firm. "You've already won. You've already taken back control of your life. You just have to believe it." I looked at him, feeling the weight of his words. "I don't know if I can." Liam leaned forward. "You can, Ryan. You've already made the decision to let her go. Now you have to do the same with James." I sat back, closing my eyes. I thought of Emily, of the times we'd shared, of the love I had for her. And then I thought of everything she'd chosen instead of me. I thought of James and how I had made him pay. But Liam was right. Holding on to this anger, to this need for revenge, wasn't going to fix me. It wasn't going to fix anything. "I still feel like I'm broken," I said quietly. "Like nothing's ever going to make this right." "It's okay to feel like that," Liam said. "But you can't stay stuck in it. You have to choose yourself now. Stop waiting for things to get better because of someone else. You make your own future." I nodded, though it felt harder than it should have. For so long, I had been trying to make things right with Emily, with James. I had tried to force closure, tried to make them pay for everything they had done. But it wasn't their fault anymore. It was mine. I had been the one holding on to the past, letting it define me. "Maybe you're right," I said, standing up and pacing the room. "Maybe it's time I let go." I opened the window, letting the cool air rush in, and stared out at the city. James Harper was finished. But I wasn't. I still had my life, my future. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a spark of hope. Maybe this was the beginning of something new. But as the wind blew through the open window, I realized something else. There was nothing left to fix. I didn't need revenge to heal. I didn't need Emily to heal. I just needed to let go. To move on. Thanks, Liam, I said quietly, turning back to him. You were right. I know, he said, smiling. But you had to figure it out on your own. I smiled back, but it wasn't a sad smile. It was a smile of understanding, of acceptance. Maybe I wasn't fully healed yet. Maybe I would never be the same. But I was finally ready to take control of my own life. James had fallen. Emily was gone. But I was still here. And for the first time in a long time, I could see the path forward. I never thought this day would come. Not like this anyway. But as I sat on the balcony of my apartment, the city skyline spread out before me, I could feel the weight of everything finally beginning to lift. It wasn't perfect. Hell, I wasn't even sure what perfect was anymore, but it was enough. Emily and James were out of my life. For good. And I was left here, still breathing, still standing, trying to figure out what the hell came next. Ryan. The voice pulled me out of my thoughts, and I looked over to see Liam standing at the door. He was leaning against the frame, watching me with that look, like he could see right through me. Hey, I said, forcing a smile. You want to come out here? He stepped onto the balcony and sat down beside me, the city lights flickering around us. How you holding up? I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly. Okay. Better than before, I think. Better than before? Liam raised an eyebrow. You sure? Because you've been quiet as hell lately. I shrugged, the ache in my chest starting to fade as I talked. It's a lot, man. All this time I thought getting back at James would make it better. I thought it would fix everything. But now that it's happening, now that he's going down, I don't feel like I won. You did what you had to do, Liam said firmly. James needed to pay for what he did. You just weren't expecting that it wouldn't make you feel better. Revenge doesn't fix the past, Ryan. I know, I said quietly. I thought if I exposed him, if I made him suffer, it would somehow make up for everything I lost. But it didn't. It doesn't feel like a victory. It just feels hollow. Liam didn't respond right away. He just sat there looking at me like he was waiting for something. Finally he spoke. You know it's okay to grieve, right? I blinked, caught off guard. Grieve? Yeah. You've been holding on to this anger and pain for so long, you've never really allowed yourself to mourn. To feel the loss of what Emily and James did to you. Liam's voice softened. You're not going to heal until you let yourself feel it. I turned to face him, a knot forming in my throat. But I'm so damn tired of feeling like this. Been months, Liam. I thought I'd have this figured out by now. You don't have to figure it out all at once, he said gently. You just have to let it out, Ryan. It's the only way you'll ever move on. The only way you'll ever be free of it. His words hit deeper than I expected. I realized as I sat there that he was right. I had been avoiding this, avoiding the grief, the hurt. I had thrown myself into work, into the idea of revenge, thinking it would make it go away. But it didn't. It never would. I'm scared, I admitted, my voice cracking slightly. Scared that if I let go, if I let myself feel it, I'll fall apart. Liam placed a hand on my shoulder, his grip firm. Ryan, you're stronger than that. You've already made it through the hardest part. Letting go won't break you. It'll make you whole again. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I had spent so much time fighting against it all, fighting against the anger, the betrayal, the hurt. I didn't know how to stop. But I needed to. I needed to accept it. I don't know if I'm ready, I said softly, opening my eyes to meet Liam's gaze. You don't have to be, Liam said with a small smile. But you will be, eventually. It's going to take time, but it's the only way forward. I nodded slowly, the weight of his words sinking in. There was no magic fix. No quick solution. I couldn't just erase what happened, but maybe I didn't have to. Maybe I could learn to live with it. I'm sorry, Liam, I said quietly. For all the times I pushed you away, for all the times I was angry. You don't need to apologize, Liam said, his voice warm. We've both been through hell, man. But you're here. That's what matters. We sat in silence for a moment, the hum of the city surrounding us. The cool breeze on my face felt different now. It wasn't as harsh as it used to be. It was calming. I don't know what's next, I said, the uncertainty of the future creeping in. But I'm not going to keep holding on to this anymore. I'm done with it. Liam smiled, giving me a thumbs up. That's all anyone can ask for. Just take it one step at a time. As I sat there, feeling the weight of everything that had happened, I realized something. I had made it through. I had survived the worst of it. And while I wasn't sure what the future held, I knew one thing for certain. I was ready to let go of the past. For the first time in months, I could finally breathe. It's funny how life works. A year ago, I never would have thought I'd be sitting here ready to start over. But here I am, sitting in my new apartment looking out at the city below me, and for the first time in a long time I feel okay. I've spent so much of the past year tangled in anger, regret, and hurt, but it's different now. I can breathe again. I've been taking the time to focus on myself, my career, my friends, my family, and slowly the pieces are falling into place. I was at a work event the other night when I met Sarah. She's sharp, confident, and full of energy. The kind of person who lights up a room without even trying. At first, I didn't think much of it, just another colleague in the mix. But after we spent more time talking, I realized something. She was different. And maybe, just maybe, I was ready for someone new. "Ryan, you've been so quiet tonight," Sarah said, leaning across the table toward me. "What's on your mind?" I smiled, feeling the weight of the question, but for the first time in months, I didn't feel burdened by it. "I guess I've just been thinking about everything that's happened, you know? How much things have changed." She raised an eyebrow. "What's changed?" I paused, taking a sip of my drink. "Everything. I used to be stuck in the past, holding on to things, to people who weren't right for me. But I'm done with that now. I'm focusing on what makes me happy." Sarah nodded, her expression thoughtful. "That sounds like a healthy mindset. You know, you've got to live for yourself. Don't let the past hold you back." It took me a while to figure that out too. Her words hit me in a way I didn't expect. It was like she could see right through me, like she knew exactly what I'd been going through. "I've spent so much time trying to fix things that were broken," I said, my voice quieter now. "I didn't realize it, but I've been punishing myself for things that were out of my control." "You can't change the past, Ryan," Sarah said gently. "You can only move forward." I felt the weight of her words, and for the first time in a long time, I truly understood what she meant. The anger, the regret, all of it had been holding me back. But now it didn't matter anymore. I was finally ready to let go. As the night went on, we talked more, about life, about goals, about things that mattered. And for the first time, I felt like I was connecting with someone in a way that was genuine. There was no baggage, no past to drag around. Just the present. Just us. By the end of the night, we exchanged numbers, and for once, I didn't feel hesitant or scared. I felt hopeful. Like there was something more waiting for me. Maybe it was love. Maybe it was just companionship. But whatever it was, I wasn't running from it anymore. A few weeks passed, and Sarah and I spent more time together. I found myself laughing more, feeling lighter, and for the first time I was excited about the future. She challenged me, made me think about things in new ways, pushed me to do things I wouldn't have done before. But it didn't feel like pressure. It felt like freedom. One evening, as we sat in a park watching the sunset, she turned to me with a smile. "I'm glad we met, Ryan. I think you're one of the good ones." The word surprised me. "You really think so?" She nodded. "Yeah. You've been through a lot, and I think you're ready for something new. You just had to believe in yourself again." I smiled, the warmth of the moment filling me. "Thanks, Sarah. For everything." And as I sat there watching the sun dip below the horizon, I realized something. I had spent so long waiting for closure, for a sign that everything would make sense. But I didn't need that anymore. I had the power to create my own closure. And I had the power to move forward. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about holding on to the past. It was about what I was willing to build from here. And with Sarah by my side, maybe it was the start of something new, something real. The emotional struggle was over. The weight of the past was lifting. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt truly free. I sat in the quiet of my apartment, staring at the empty glass in my hand. It wasn't full of anything special, just water. But the stillness of the moment felt heavy, like it was marking the end of something I couldn't quite put into words. I had spent so much time searching for justice, for closure, for revenge. But now, as I reflected on everything that had happened, I realized that none of that mattered as much as I thought it would. The past few months had been a whirlwind of emotions, decisions, and lessons. Emily and James were out of my life, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel weighed down by them. But the truth was, I still felt the scars. Maybe I always would. "You all right, man?" Liam's voice brought me back to the present. He'd been quiet lately, probably noticing the internal battle I was still fighting. "Yeah," I said, forcing a smile. "I think so." Liam raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "You sure? You've been more distant than usual." I leaned back in my chair, taking a deep breath. "I've been thinking a lot. About everything that's happened. About Emily, about James, about me." "You've been through a lot, Ryan," Liam said, his voice steady. "But you've made it through. That's what matters." I nodded, but the weight of his words didn't quite settle in. I guess But I still don't know if it was worth it. Liam leaned forward, placing his drink on the table in front of me. What do you mean? I mean, Emily's gone. James is falling apart. But it doesn't feel like justice. It doesn't feel like I've won anything. I rubbed my eyes, trying to fight the frustration bubbling inside me. I thought this would give me peace, but it didn't. Liam's expression softened, like he understood exactly what I was saying. You've been fighting for something you thought would make you whole. But that's not how it works. You can't find peace in revenge or in what someone else did. You can only find it in yourself. I shook my head. But I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't get the love, the closure, the fairness. I wanted Emily to see what she did to me, to regret everything. I wanted her to feel how much I hurt. And she probably does, Liam said gently. But you can't keep living for that. You're never going to find peace in her regret. You have to find it in yourself. I stared at the glass in my hand, my reflection staring back at me. Was Liam right? Was I still holding on to something I didn't need? I don't know how to do that, I admitted, my voice quiet. Liam smiled softly. You're already doing it. You've let go of the anger, the need for revenge. You're learning to move on, to focus on yourself. That's the hardest part. I thought about everything that had happened. The late nights, the confrontation with James, Emily's apologies, the hurt, the betrayal. And in the end, it wasn't revenge or justice that mattered. It was me. It was the decisions I had made for myself, for my future. I set the glass down and looked at Liam. I think I get it now. It's not about what I wanted from them. It's about what I want for me. And I've got to focus on that. Liam nodded, his expression proud. Exactly. You've got to let go of the past and start living for you. It's the only way forward. I sat there for a moment, feeling a weight I hadn't even realized I was carrying slowly lift off my shoulders. Maybe I didn't get everything I wanted. Maybe I didn't get the love I thought I deserved from Emily. But I had something more important. I had my own peace. You've come a long way, Ryan, Liam said, breaking the silence. I'm proud of you. A small smile crept across my face. Thanks, man. I couldn't have done it without you. We both sat back, letting the silence settle between us, but it wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was one of understanding. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was fighting. I was just being. The phone buzzed on the table and I glanced at it. It was a message from Emily. I felt my heart skip a beat, but this time, it didn't send me into a spiral. I didn't feel the same rush of anger or regret. It just felt like another chapter closing. I picked up the phone, read the message, and then deleted it without hesitation. That was it. The past was gone and so was she. I didn't need anything more. For the first time, I was truly free.